Today on Your Money, we're taking the show on the road. We're here at the Twin Cities Auto Show to give you an inside look at the vehicle market these days, the cheapest cars out on the market and the most expensive cars out on the market. Also the latest with EVs and hybrids. It's all coming up next. Welcome to Your Money. I'm your host, Gordon Severson. Today we are here at the Twin Cities Auto Show. It's an annual event that gives consumers an inside access to the latest makes and models from manufacturers around the world. You can even test drive the cars here, the vehicles, to see if it's the right fit for you. So we thought this was a great opportunity to give you, our viewers, an inside look at what the market is like these days. We've seen a lot of big changes in the vehicle market over the last couple of years. So this is a good refresher for anyone who is kind of been out of the market for the last couple of years and hasn't bought a new vehicle in a while. So we're going to start out with one of the organizers of this show to give us an idea of what this show is all about. We're here with Scott Lambert, who kind of runs the show here at the Twin Cities Auto Show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for being down at our show. We love having you.
What is the show all about?
Well, the auto show is a showcase of the best that the Twin Cities franchise new car dealers have to offer their customers. Winter is always a slow time for the car business, and so the show comes around in the spring, and it kind of springboards the selling season for the dealers. And the customers come down and they kind of come out of hibernation, if you will, and start comparing automobiles and trucks. And the beauty of the show is you can go from brand to brand to brand, all under one roof, look for what you're looking for, compare models. It's a non-selling show, so there's no real pressure.
Yeah, it's almost like going on like a dozen car lots all in one space.
All in one, and that's the idea. That's what we want, except we don't want people to feel pressured to buy anything. Just gather information, do your comparisons, and then go back out to the dealerships, and hopefully everybody comes from the show and starts buying cars.
And this is a great opportunity to get an update on kind of what we're seeing with the vehicle market out there. You know, what did we see during COVID and where are we kind of at after that? Have things kind of gone back to normal, so to speak?
During COVID days when inventories were so tight, we had trouble getting cars on the show floor, actually. We couldn't get the vehicles people wanted to see because they just weren't around anywhere. They weren't on the lots or anywhere. But inventories are back. And in a good way. We don't probably have the 90-day inventories we had pre-COVID, but we're 30 to 45 days of inventory, and that's good enough. In fact, one of the problems we're having is that in some cases the electric vehicle inventory is outpacing the inventory of the gas-powered vehicles because they're a little bit slower moving right now.
I know, like a lot of things, in 2021 and 2022, we saw some higher prices with vehicles. Have prices started to kind of stabilize, and are we not seeing those increases that we did a few years ago?
Yes, prices have stabilized for new cars, and I think prices have kind of scaled back a little bit for used cars. Used cars are made from new cars. We don't have a used car factory. They're made from new, and because there was a shortage of supply for new, prices really got tough on used cars, but that's starting to draw back a little bit.
A lot of people are looking for an affordable car. You know, the days of the car in the teens is kind of over with. There's, just a handful out there. Are there still a lot of cars in that $20,000 to $30,000 range for people who are on a budget?
There are options for individuals who want to get into an entry-level vehicle. And the auto show is great for that because they're around here. You can find, there's probably a dozen vehicles here in the $20,000 range, between 20 and 30. And the show is great because you come down here to look and shop for the vehicle you need, but then you also get to look at the stuff that would be fun to have someday and kind of your dream vehicle. So it's got a little bit of both.
Do you see a lot of people coming here to the show that maybe have been out of touch with the car market the last couple of years because of everything that's going on, and now they're like seeing this as a great way to get reacquainted with some of the makes and models and companies that are out there? Yeah,
well, vehicle sales have been down over the past 3 years, by double digits. So people are definitely re-entering the market. It's been a soft market the past few months, kind of December through the early part of March has been, pretty soft in terms of the dealers being able to move their inventory. So we're kind of waiting. We feel like there's a lot of pent-up demand coming our way.
And we're going to get into this a little bit later in the show, but EV and hybrid is kind of a big talker lately. What are you seeing right now in the EV and hybrid market?
Well, it's interesting right now, and I've been doing this for well over 30 years, but for 100 plus years, the car business has built and sold vehicles that were all about consumer demand, and that's not the case anymore. Now government is telling the car business what vehicles they need to buy, they need to build, and what vehicles they need to sell. And government is impatient for what they want. They want everybody in electric vehicles, and it's not happening fast enough for them. And there's a bit of a collision between consumer interest and the government mandates that are pushing factories to build more and more electric vehicles, but there's just not the customer base there yet. And it's yet to be seen if those two forces are going to match up or if one is going to overwhelm the other.
And it's kind of a classic thing when there's that clash of supply and demand, prices usually go down. So people might see some buys there, and they might have to come down and entice those people to buy.
Exactly. They might have to lose money selling some of these vehicles to get people into them, just to get the vehicles off their books.
So there might be a deal out there for people.
There might be a deal. You never know. There's always a deal.
Well, thank you, Scott, for giving us a great introduction to the show here. Next, we're going to talk about an affordable car. You know, there are very few options out there on the market for those cars in the affordable range. And I should stress, very few. There's actually only one here on the showroom floor that is under $20,000. Check it out. There is a perception out there that there is no affordable car out there on the market anymore. But from what we've heard from some people like Corey Taylor here from Whitebeard Mitsubishi, there are still some affordable cars out there, right?
There is. We have the 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage right now, currently with auto show discounts at $16,999. It's the lowest priced car in the US right now that's a non-hybrid.
So there are still some cars out there that are in the teens, not 20s or 30s.
There is, believe it or not, there is.
Yeah, I believe that I heard recently there's like a Kelley Blue Book analysis that said this is the only new vehicle out there that's under 20 grand now these days.
That is correct, yes.
What is it? What are you getting with a car like this? What are they still getting a good quality car for that price point?
Absolutely. Not only are they getting the $16,999 price point, they're also going to be getting the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, gas mileage in the 40s. So you're getting a car that not only is affordable, but it's good gas mileage as well as a solid warranty behind it.
And you know, looking at it, I mean, it looks like a typical car. It's a little smaller than like some other types, but it isn't like a tiny clown car by any means.
No, it is not. There's plenty of room for it. And the trunk has got a lot of room too. Obviously with like groceries and stuff like that going up so much, housing, it's nice to at least know that you can still get a car that's affordable. And currently right now you can get a $199 payment on it too for 84 months. So it's definitely more affordable than most cars out there right now.
When people come to the lot, there's certain people that really just say, hey, I want to see, do you have an economy? Do they seek out this car because they're looking for something affordable?
They really do. And the nice thing is with our inventory, we have a ton in stock right now. I think actually this morning when I was at the store, I think we just received another 15 of them that were coming off the truck. So we have plenty in stock right now.
What have you seen in the last couple of years? Have you seen more customers asking for the more low end because of, you know, what we've seen financially with people, you know, it's tough times?
Yeah, it definitely is. And we have all sorts of people that buy it. Some people buy it for their kids. Some people buy it for their work car. You know, some people are just, you know, adjusted income or fixed incomes. These are the cars that they're looking for because they're affordable. We have a lot of people who come in and pay cash for them. So, you know, again, under $20,000 is hard to find.
What do they do to make a car that is this affordable? What are some of the strategies that they do to keep the cost down?
Well, the one thing is the stuff that we use, you know, the motor transmission, it's been around forever. They're proven. So when we're not constantly changing those things, you're able to be affordable. And obviously they continue to work on the style of it, make sure it's, you know, what people are looking for. I mean, one of our favorite colors is the yellow. It sells like before it even gets to the dealership. So, you know, keeping all the things that make Mitsubishi so strong, as well as that warranty, really keeps that cost of the car down.
That they're saving money on the design and all the extra research and work that goes into this. They're kind of keeping it mostly the same year to year.
Correct.
If someone is looking for kind of the low end of the market with kind of the most affordable car out there, what are some things that you and your colleagues will tell them? Is there certain like pros and cons, things that they should know?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is making sure that it has what they want. You know, we sell Bluetooth connectivity. You know, there is safety features that are available on the car as well as, you know, blind spot. So, I mean, it really just depends on what a customer is looking for. Obviously, you know, lighter cars, you know, winter-wise, these things handle really, really well in the winter. It's just, you know, this last snowfall that we had plowing the lot, having to drive over big snowbanks, you know, 1.5 feet too high, they still go through it just fine. So, you know, that downfalls, I don't really know. It really depends on what you're looking for. It's really the big thing.
I'm sure, you know, with the smaller car, the less room for passengers, that's kind of the biggest thing, right?
You'd be surprised on who can fit inside this car. There's a lot of room.
And I'm sure too, with, you know, certain cars that are more on the affordable side, the engines, you know, you're not going to get the acceleration that you do with the $500,000.
That is correct. That is correct. You will not get the $500,000 acceleration.
You know, what's your advice to someone who is feeling and their budget's tight these days, but they still are looking for a new car, hoping they can find something, what would be your advice to them?
I would say come in and test drive one because one, cost of ownership is super low on this thing and it's affordable. So I would say give it a try before you decide to go spend more money on something that this might be the fix.
And if you're buying a car that's more affordable, all the other costs are coming down too.
Correct.
The tabs, I'm sure, are cheaper, the insurance, all of that, right?
Yes, tabs are a lot cheaper on this than a $30,000 car. So,
Well, Corey, thanks so much for chatting with us. I appreciate your expertise.
absolutely, thank you.
Coming up after the break, from the most affordable car here at the show to the most expensive. You won't want to miss it. Welcome back. Here on the showroom floor, there is a wide range of price points. As we showed you earlier, there are cars out here in the $20,000 range, but there are also cars here that can cost nearly $500,000. And we got to see a few of them and talk to one of the managers who sells these cars, and he gave us some great advice if any of us are lucky enough to be in the position to buy a luxury vehicle. Check it out. To help us talk about the luxury side of vehicles, I have Aaron Schoenack here. He's the general sales manager for Maury's Luxury Auto. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Glad to have it. Glad to be here.
What are some of the brands that you feature on your car lot?
So at the luxury campus, we have Bentley, Maserati, and Aston Martin, plus a variety of different used cars, high-end used cars, variety of cars in general, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people who could never afford luxury always wonder, what are you paying for with a luxury vehicle? Is it a better, metal in it? Is it the name? What are some of the things you're paying for?
It's a combination of a lot of things. It's the technology in the car, a lot of the safety features, the innovation, the paint quality. Some of these paints, when you order a special paint, sometimes they're 10, 15, as much as $40,000 for a special paint of your choice. And then the experience. So when they come out to our store, hopefully they're getting the best experience possible. They're paying for a little bit better than they might at a different type of location from when they come to us.
When you look at the bodies of some of these vehicles, they're really unique. I'm sure the design of them takes a special designer who has years of experience to kind of make the look of them.
Yeah, a lot of these, they start all the way down the CAD design, clay models, and then they sculpt them all out. I mean, obviously behind us, you have the MC20, gorgeous car, comes out of Italy, Italian made. Very, very sophisticated in the engineering of these cars, coefficient of drag, speeds, 0 to 60 times. These are fantastic vehicles, and they're a lot of fun to sell.
And a lot of times you see in the movies or when you talk to people, the acceleration, it's a different drive. It's a stronger car. Is that true for a lot of these?
It is. I mean, we have cars, the MC20 behind us, 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds with a top speed over 200 miles an hour. We have one of the fastest SUVs here, a DBX 707, 0 to 60, 3.1 seconds as an SUV with almost 700 horsepower. So you feel it in your chest when you stand on the gas. They're really a lot of fun to drive for sure.
And I'm sure everything is a little more expensive with some of this, like the registration. How much does it even cost to register one of these?
Tabs on these in Minnesota, as we all know, tabs can get expensive. Some of our vehicles I've seen in excess of $5,000, $6,000 for a year of tabs on these cars. But some of the cars we sell at our store, I think the most expensive we have currently is about $425,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think $5,000 is more than I spent on my first car when I was 16.
Yeah, it can get a little up there for tabs. But if you're buying our inventory, you're buying our vehicles, that's usually the least of your concerns. You're really just looking for a really good luxury experience in a luxury vehicle for sure.
So what have we seen in the last couple of years with the luxury car market? What has changed? Where is it kind of going? Well,
coming out of the COVID years for the auto industry, things have improved in terms of availability. So there's much more availability for vehicles out there in the marketplace. So that in itself helps buyers go out there and say, now I see you've got some selection. Plus, there's availability to order cars where we had a lot of supply constraints. We don't have a lot of those issues anymore. So the car market and the luxury segment's actually been very good. We've been very busy, both Bentley, Maserati, and Aston Martin, with the new products coming out.
I know it's weird to think about like value when we're talking about luxury vehicles, but a lot of it, I'm sure, is name recognition and just that reputation. Sure. Are there certain cars out there that fit the luxury model that are a really good value, that you're really getting what you pay for? Or anything that comes to mind? Well,
it depends on how you really look at it. I mean, there's vehicles out there that certainly go down in value faster than others. There's vehicles that hold value better than others. Some of our vehicles do, some of our vehicles don't, but that's really pretty standard with anything you see out there in the industry. There's certain, it could be Toyota, Honda, anything else out there that might go up, might go down, but the vehicles' values have been pretty consistent. They haven't really gone down as greatly as people think they have. So it's been pretty good for us.
Have the prices been pretty much the same as the more economy style? Is the increases with inflation, has that been pretty much the same?
It has. I mean, vehicles generally, every model year that comes out, there's usually a price increase, and it varies from model to model and make to make, but it's anywhere from 1%, 3%, 5% on the high side. So our vehicles do go up because everything goes up as things come along for prices to build cars, but you know, it follows the industry average for sure.
If there's someone out there that has never bought a luxury vehicle but is maybe considering it or dreaming of it in the next couple of years, what would be your advice to someone who's a first timer?
Do your research for sure. Come out and see us. We're happy to help. We can build cars, spec cars, determine really what the best car is for you, because there's different drivability in all the luxury cars. Even though you think you might want a Bentley, you might find that Aston Martin or Maserati or something completely different suits you better. So best just to come in, let us work with you and see what best fits you.
And I'm sure it's also important, like the car itself is more expensive, but they have to budget for everything else is going to be, you know, the insurance, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously to maintain the vehicles of these natures, the annual service is usually yearly now. It's 10,000 miles, 12,000 miles or 1 year on most of the things we sell. But definitely, with cost to repair these, you got to definitely take that into account, because that does play a factor for sure.
Yeah, because I'm sure they buy it, they drive it home, not realizing they might budget for a typical economy car, not knowing that it could be 3-4 times more for parts and insurance and all
absolutely.
that stuff.
I mean, the Aston Martin behind us over in the corner here, the tires for the DB12 are specially designed for Michelin, designed for that car. They make one tire for that car specifically. So when you need to replace those tires, you kind of have one option. So that tire is obviously more expensive to replace on the car. And a lot of the parts on the cars, they come from overseas. So that all factors into the cost of repair. And usually you're going to have a little higher premium to repair or replace the part.
Well, something to budget for if you're in the market for a luxury vehicle. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
Appreciate it.
Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about EVs and hybrids. We're going to take you to Electric Neighborhood here at the show. Stay tuned. Welcome back. As we said earlier in the show, we are going to talk about the EV and hybrid market. And we spoke with one of the test drivers here at the show who takes people out in these EVs and gives many of them their first experience in these vehicles. Check it out. A big part of the show this year is the Electric Neighborhood here at the show, which is EVs, hybrids, and to help us understand more about hybrids, we have Lon Weiss here. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, you're saying before that a lot of people are test driving these. You said it was like 400 test drives a day here?
We average probably that. During the weekdays it's down a little bit, but during the weekends there's a line all day long.
What are some of the things that you hear from the first timers, like the thing that surprises them the most?
The first thing, of course, is how quiet it is. They get in the vehicle and they're expecting when they hit the start button that they're going to hear a noise, and it doesn't. Is it ready to go? Yes, it's ready to go. Press the accelerator and away you go. The second thing is, of course, it's just quiet. There's no noise around at all.
And I recently drove one, and the smoothness of the ride was kind of stood out to me.
It is. I think that has to do too with just the sound factor. You're not hearing any sound with the motor, so you're picking up all the sounds. There isn't any. They're real tight. They're real compact.
And the acceleration feels a little different. I can't quite describe it. How would you describe it?
Fast. Throw in the seat back fast. Yeah, we give them an opportunity actually, and on some of the areas on the road here, we give them an opportunity to kind of accelerate a little bit. And I think that's the main thing, is it's like, oh my gosh, it'll throw you right back in the seat. So it's very powerful.
I'm sure a lot of people also ask about charging. Then range. That's probably the first questions, the biggest
Range
concern.
anxiety, yeah. We're pretty conservative here in Minnesota, and that's one of the first thing that pops in. Plus, people have a cabin up north, and it's like, can I get to my cabin and can I get back again? So range anxiety, yeah. It's gotten better over the years because with new technology, the range is more. I think when we first did this 6 years ago, the Leaf was not quite 100-mile range, and today it's almost up to 400. So it's like massive improvement. It's technology, let's face it. It's like your pocket computer. Every one upgrade is that much quicker. So.
And the selection has just increased, and the presence is more. I know earlier in the week, Scott was telling me that maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was just a couple of EVs in the corner in another room, and now it's a huge part of the show.
6 years ago, we did 2 ride and drives. We had the Outlander, which is a a hybrid plug-in, and then we did the Leaf. That was the only two that we had. And now we have 6 manufacturers now with different models within those manufacturers.
What's kind of the price point for like an affordable introductory kind of economy style EV or hybrid?
Yep, like the Nissan Leaf, that's probably right around $28,000 to $30,000 for an entry level, which is pretty much comparable to a compact car. So it's like a gas car is pretty comparable to that. Most of them are in the $45,000 to $50,000 range in the mid price. You can go all the way up. I think the Lightning that's on the showroom floor over here is like $94,000. And the Mercedes and the Audis type of things, that's going to be up into the 6 figures. But, you know, over the course of the year, you're saving some money too, just because it's electric.
And then the thought is that over time, you're saving money on gas and kind of have to factor that in a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's about $3,500 a year they figure that you save on tax, or I mean on gas and that type of thing, and maintenance. You don't have to crawl underneath and do your oil changes anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of that comes into play too.
But I'm sure there are some added costs that people should know about, like the charger and like you're paying for electricity, right? Are those some things that people should know about before they invest in an EV?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a different thing. You're not driving into the gas station and fill up your car with gas anymore. But the beauty of it is you can actually do it at home. So there's 3 different levels of charging. You can have a stage 1, which is just a 110 plug-in, very slow. You're probably going to get about 2 miles per hour of charging. So it takes a long, long time if you're going to just use your plain old extension cord, plug it in, and away you go. But in the home, you can have a stage 2 charger also. Now you're going to probably get about 100 miles for every 4 hours of charging. So you'll get, you'll get more of that. And then there's the superchargers that are out there that you can actually go to and plug in, which is DC power, which is about, now it's down to about 45 minutes.
What would be your last piece of advice for someone who's considering an EV or is wanting to maybe do a test drive?
Try it out. You know, there's a lot of people I think that are saying, I will never get an EV vehicle. But why not? You know, I mean, it's kind of I think the buzz has kind of gotten off from it now. Now it's starting to be a mainstream type thing, which means there's going to be more technology. Battery technology is vastly improving. Just the efficiency of the car is improving, and the charging stations are getting more and more populated throughout the United States.
Well, Lon, thank you so much for coming on the show. Before we wrap up this on-location episode here of Your Money, I want to leave you with this. Today we talked a lot about new vehicles. Every vehicle here on the showroom floor is brand new. But if you buy used, there's no shame in that. I myself, every vehicle that I have purchased has been a used vehicle. It may not be as flashy, but you're often getting a better value. And here on Your Money, that's what we're all about. Until next time, I'm Gordon Severson, helping you save, spend, and invest your money wisely. I'll see you next time.